What's happening, everybody? Justin, Bridgewater's finest on YouTube, Blockbuster_guy on Twitter, and welcome to week 9 of my weekly NFL Picks show for the 2014-2015 NFL season. You all know how this goes. We're going to get into the week 8 results before we go to the week 9 picks, but before we do that, got a little bit of housekeeping to take care of. First off, there's not going to be a comment of the week this week. The only reason for that being, I only had 5 or 6 comments on last week's video. Part of that's my fault. I didn't exactly give you guys questions that spurned conversation, so I'll be fixing that this week. And secondly, I just wanted to take a moment to ask all of my fans on YouTube, people that watch this video, people who are fans of the other YouTube prognosticators, to put the masked tweeter in your thoughts, if you would. He's going through some problems right now, and he's got a bit of a struggle ahead of him. I don't want to go into too much detail about it, but he's struggling with something, and we all have him in our thoughts, and just wanted to take a few minutes to ask everyone to also put the masked tweeter in your thoughts. And tweeter, we love you, and we really appreciate what you add to the conversation every single time you do a video, and we know you love it, and you know that we love it as well. And get better, buddy. We're all pulling for you. All right, so plugging forward here. Week 8, like I said, was a pretty decent statistical week. On the big 3 against the spread, I did suffer another setback, though. I was 1-2 again last week. Takes me down to 10-13-1 on the season. 3 games under 500 with the big 3 is my season worst. So unfortunately, I'm back to my season worst. I told you to take Indy -3. That didn't work out. They ended up losing that game in a big bad way. Told you to take Green Bay +2. Same deal. They lost their game in a big bad way. But I did tell you to take Houston -2.5. That one did work out if you played the bet there. So 1-2 last week on the big 3 against the spread. 10-13-1. Not the direction we want to be moving in, but let's see if we can't move forward. Overall, against the spread in week 8, though, I was on the happy side of 500. I did end up being 8-7 overall against the spread in week 8, which leaves me at 57-62-2 for the season. So still 5 games under 500, but you know what? Still kind of moving in the right direction overall. So you know what? I'll take it. Let's take a look now at the platinum, gold, silver, and bronze picks from week 8 in the NFL. Starting with the bronze pick, I told you to take the Miami Dolphins to beat Jacksonville. That worked out big time. Miami 27, Jacksonville 13. Miami's defense really showed up to play in this game. Miami's D basically wins this game for them, picking off Blake Bortles twice, 4 touchdowns, 2 pick sixes. On the plus side for Jacksonville, it looks like they might have something in their running back there, Denard Robinson, who now has back-to-back 100-yard games. My silver pick, I told you to take Kansas City in Kansas City to beat St. Louis. I told you St. Louis doesn't travel very well. Granted, they didn't have to go very far, but they did not travel very well in this game. Kansas City wins it in a rout, 34-7. An additionally bad part for St. Louis was that they were leading this game 7-0 after the first quarter. Kansas City put up 34 unanswered points for the rest of the game, most of their damage being done on the ground, including a 99-yard kick return touchdown by Niall Davis. And on the defensive side of the ball, I mean, Kansas City sacked Austin Davis 7 times. You can't win a football game if you give up 7 sacks on your quarterback. For my gold pick, I told you to take the Broncos to beat San Diego. That worked out. Denver wins that game 35-21. Emmanuel Sanders goes off in this game. 9 catches, 120 yards, and 3 touchdowns. What a huge game for Emmanuel Sanders. Broncos outscored San Diego 21-0 in an 8-minute span in the first half, from the first quarter into the second quarter. And that was basically the story of the game. There's your 21 points right there. And the platinum pick. I missed the platinum pick. Only the second time this season I've missed the platinum. I told you to take Dallas to beat Washington, and Washington wins this game 20-17 in overtime. So here's the story of this game. Tony Romo gets injured. Brandon Weeden has to come in. Weeden leads the Cowboys to 10 points on his 2 possessions, a touchdown and a field goal. Romo decides to John Wayne it and come back into the game, and the Cowboys lose in overtime. It was bad play calling, and it was a bad decision by Romo to say, no, I'm John Wayning it, and I'm coming back into the game. Brandon Weeden had literally just led your team to back-to-back scoring drives. leave him in. Romo's your franchise quarterback. That's not going to change. If he has any semblance of that back injury that caused him to have, back-to-back surgeries on his back, leave him on the sidelines. It's okay. You're 6-1. So I correctly hit my gold, silver, and bronze games, but only for the second time this season missed my platinum. My records for those, my platinum record stands at 6-2. My gold pick, I finally got back to 4-4. My silver pick is an identical 6-2 to my platinum, and my bronze pick is also 4-4. But overall, straight up in week 8, I went 11-4, so that's a real good week there. I lamented last week where I didn't hit double-digit wins straight up, so I hit 11-4 last week, 75 up, 45 down, and 1 on the season. And taking a look at the Bridgewater's Finest private pick'em pool for Season 3, I continue to move up the rankings. I'm now ranked inside the top 15. I'm 15th out of 39. We picked up one more manager. 15th out of 39, 639 out of 979 possible confidence points, a clip of 65%. And in Week 8, had another real good week, brought in 85 of 120 possible confidence points for a clip of 71%. Shout out to our Week 8 winner, Bill's the Man 88, otherwise known as Billy B from TeamTakeUm. He wins the week with an 11-4 record, bringing in 90 of 120 possible confidence points for a clip of 75%. He was matched by Steelers' awesome Jeffy who is a subscriber, a loyal subscriber and fan of mine. He went 10-5, which kind of gives him the secondary nod, but he did also bring in 90 of 120 confidence points, 75%. And shout out to our new overall leader, Scarves Up. Scarves Up has a record of 77, 43, and 1 on the season, so 2 up, 2 down from me. 678 of 979 possible confidence points for a clip of 69%. Still anybody's game here. Not too late to get yourself in on this pick'em pool to have a chance to be shouted out every week. But shout out to Billy B from TeamTakeUm, Bill's the Man 88, as well as Steelers' awesome Jeffy for co-winning Week 8, and Scarves Up for being our new overall leader. I'll take this opportunity to remind everyone that if you go to the description of this video, you're going to be able to find all of my results from Week 8, you're going to be able to find all of my against the spread picks for Week 9, you're going to be able to find details on joining the Bridgewater's Finest Pick'em Pool for Season 3, and you're going to find links to other high-quality NFL YouTube prognosticators who get on here and do this every week. So in the description of the video is where you're going to find all that information. Head there now. Alright folks, past is the past, destiny is destiny according to Final Fantasy 13, and now we're into the present. So let's take a look at my big 3 against the spread picks for Week 9 in the NFL. My number 3 play on the big 3 against the spread comes in the Indianapolis at New York Giants game. The Giants are 3-point dogs at home. Giants are going to be well rested coming off of their bye week last week, while Indianapolis is coming off of a shocking 51-34 loss at the hands of the Pittsburgh Steelers. Indy still controls their own destiny here in the AFC South. They have far and away the best offense in that division, not necessarily the best defense, and the Texans are winning right behind them. So the Colts really do have to come up with a big performance here to stay ahead and keep the Texans at arm's reach in that division. Meanwhile, the Giants are just fighting to keep their head above water, sitting at 3-4 in a division with Dallas and Philadelphia ahead of them. Both of those teams are playing really good football right now, aside from their fourth quarter play calling. And, the Giants really do have to struggle here. This is probably looked at as a must-win game from both sides. That makes things a little dangerous. Clearly the spread here is indicating that Vegas thinks this is going to be a close game. The Giants, like it or not, have struggled putting up points on average on the season, and they're going up against one of the most, if not the most prolific offenses in football right now, right up there with the Broncos. Giants have done a pretty good job defensively this year, but I don't know that they're going to stop Andrew Luck, and I know Indy's got a sour taste in their mouth from that loss in Pittsburgh. Nobody thought that they were going to give up 51 points to the Steelers. So I know they burned me last week, but I'm going to go with the Colts again. The number 3 play on the big 3 against the spread, I'm going to tell you to take Indianapolis -3 in New York. My number 2 play on the big 3 against the spread this week comes in the San Diego at Miami game. Miami favored by 2.5 at home. The Chargers, as we mentioned, lost that Thursday night game to the Broncos 35-21. And Miami, as we mentioned, had that comfortable 27-13 win against Jacksonville. With that in mind, here comes my first question of the week for you guys to answer in the comments section below, because it could potentially involve Miami. Who do you guys think is the most underrated defense in football right now? This is a battle of teams that are fighting to remain relevant in the AFC in terms of the wild card race. San Diego sitting at 5-3. 5-3 right now would likely be good enough to get them into a wild card spot, and they're not totally out of the conversation in this division. Meanwhile, the Dolphins are sitting with arguably the best defense in that AFC East, but at 4-3, they really have a struggle here. They absolutely need to win this game to put themselves in the wild card conversation. Both of these teams are above 500 against other AFC opponents. They both have pretty good defenses. They both have decent offenses. I would give San Diego, obviously, the edge in terms of offensive output. What I really look at here is Miami has not played the greatest at home this year. They're only 1-2, where San Diego is at least putting up decent numbers and keeping pace on the road. With a spread of only 2.5 points, it's almost a coin flip. I'm going to take the coin flip for who I think is the better team, and in this case, I think the better team is San Diego. So my number 2 play on the big 3 against the spread, I'm going to tell you to take San Diego plus 2.5 in Miami. And my number 1 play on the big 3 against the spread this week comes in the Philadelphia at Houston game. Houston 2-point dogs at home. Houston's coming off of an impressive 30-16 win against Tennessee last week, where Philadelphia is coming off of a 4-point loss to Arizona. With the Cowboys' unexpected loss last week, Philadelphia can kind of breathe a little easier because a loss and a Cowboys win would have really put them behind the 8 ball in that division. Meanwhile, the Texans are sitting at 4-4, and while they have struggled at times this season, their defensive juggernaut, J.J. Watt, is having an MVP caliber season. I think these two defenses are actually pretty similar, except for the fact that, again, Houston has that impact player in J.J. Watt, and J.J. Watt controls games. While I don't think Philadelphia will be able to wear Houston's defense out with that fast pace, I don't think Houston's defense does wear out. I do like that offense in this game, even though they're on the road. So my top play on the big 3 against the spread this week, I'm going to tell you to take Philadelphia -2 at Houston. Now let's take a look at the platinum, gold, silver, and bronze picks for Week 9 in the NFL. We start as always with the bronze pick, 4-4 on the year. The bronze pick comes in the New York Jets at Kansas City game. Kansas City, of course, as we mentioned, had that dominant win against St. Louis at home. They're staying at home, welcoming the Jets, who were blown out by 20 points against the Bills. Sexy Rexy has finally pulled the trigger, and Michael Vick is the starting quarterback for the New York Jets. Personally, I think this is a good move. I'd like to know what you guys think. Which of these two quarterbacks, either Mike Vick or Geno Smith, which of these two quarterbacks do you think gives the Jets a better chance of winning? I like Kansas City here. I don't think there's any reason not to like Kansas City. I do think Vic is going to have a decent game. He can still run. He can throw the ball. Those Jets receivers are just dying for somebody that can throw the football, especially Percy Harvin. Could be a good game for Vic to Harvin. Hopefully they have good chemistry. But Kansas City's defense played out of sight, obviously, against the Rams, and I think they're going to have another real good game here this week. So for the bronze pick, I'm going to tell you to take KC at home to beat the Jets. My silver pick, where I am 6-2, kind of picking on the Raiders here. Seattle at home playing Oakland. I don't really have to say anything about this game, do I? Oakland's got to be on the fast track to the first overall pick. I would be surprised to see them win a game, really, to be perfectly honest. And in Seattle, they're not going to beat Seattle. I don't care how many locker room problems the Seahawks happen to have. They're not losing to the Raiders at home. So for the silver pick, I'm going to take Seattle at home to beat Oakland. My gold pick, where I am 4-4, sees the St. Louis Rams continuing on the road, going to San Francisco to play the 49ers. This, again, is very simple. The Rams don't travel well. It is a divisional game, but San Fran's coming off their bye. They're going to be well rested. They might be able to get some of these folks back here on defense who they've been badly missing. You know, the Rams lost one of their passing threats with Brian Quick being done for the year. So now it's basically all on the head of Kenny Britt. FYI, pick up Kenny Britt in fantasy because he could have a good rest of the season since he's going to be basically the primary target in that passing attack. But I don't think that's going to translate to success, especially in San Francisco. So for the gold pick, I'm going to tell you to take San Francisco at home to beat St. Louis. And the platinum pick, Sorry, folks. The Cincinnati Bengals playing at home against the Jacksonville Jaguars. Jacksonville, as we mentioned, lost that game against Miami 27-13. Cincinnati last week won a game they really had no business winning, beating Baltimore 27-24. FYI, that offensive pass interference penalty that was called on Steve Smith was really weak. Though I don't want to take too much away from Cincinnati, they are leading that division somehow at 4-2-1 when Baltimore at 5-3 or Pittsburgh at 5-3 aren't leading the division. I always thought if you had more wins, you were leading the division. But in any case, Cincinnati's leading that division. Their defense has kind of struggled comparative to what people thought the defense was going to do this year. Like, they're actually giving up slightly more points than they're scoring. That being said, it's the Jaguars. Long as Cincinnati can stop Denard Robinson from putting up 300 yards and 5 touchdowns, they should be fine. So I'm going to take the Cincinnati Bengals at home to beat the Jaguars. That's the platinum pick. So there's the platinum, gold, silver, and bronze. Now it's time to take a look at the rest of my straight-up picks for Week 9 in the NFL. Here they are. That's the Week 9 show for you, folks. Comments, hate, and love, you know where they go. Comment section below. Remember in the comment section to answer for me. Who do you think has the most underrated defense in the NFL? And which quarterback do you think gives the Jets the better chance of winning, Mike Vick or Geno Smith? That's going to be it for me this week. Justin, Bridgewater's Finest on YouTube, Blockbuster_guy on Twitter. Give me some decent comments this week so I can bring back the comment of the week. And once again, get better, tweeter. We're all pulling for you, buddy.